so today we have on one of the longest TP athletes of all time, 10-year big leaguer, 7 different teams in the show. I mean, we talk about everything from when we started off at Champion Sports Medicine together, going to a different facility, and then going from River Chase to Go Play to now the location we're at Tinsley Performance now. Just the growth of Tinsley Performance being on his shoulders, and what it's like pitching in the World Series in college and in the major leagues, what COVID year looked like just all the ins and outs, what it looks like to leave a legacy for the next generation, how to lead your family well, how to lead other athletes that are looking up to you, how to handle adversity through different setbacks that he had. Kendall Graveman is one of the best players to ever walk in the doors of Tinsley Performance, and obviously we have a great relationship that was developed back 12-ish years ago. So please welcome Kendall Graveman. Today is a super special podcast. It's one of the first ones we've ever done. Kendall Graveman, we go way back. Started working together before Tinsley Performance was even a thing. It was a vision that I had, and one of the first professional athlete I ever had after working with the Braves and training or working at Champion Sports Medicine, which is way back. So we're about to get into all that, all the way into 10-year big league career and everything in between, from faith, grit, legacy, all that. So we're about to get rolling with my man, Kendall Graveman. Come on.
Let's go.
So, I mean, I think there's so much to talk about. There's so many years that have gone in. We started together back in 2013.
I'll let you tell it. It's been
14.
a long time ago.
So
14.
I finished up with the Atlanta Braves in 13. Got the job at Champion Sports Medicine that year. So it was either 13 or 14. Working in the backside of a physical therapy clinic. And we're over there getting
Coach,
after it.
laid it out. What the clinic look like?
Getting after
huh?
it. I want to show you. I want to see up here. We about to look at.
For people that can't see, Coach. Cal Tinsley with hair.
Please show this on the podcast. Yeah. All right, it's on there. So, I mean, repping the CSM. I mean, I was fired up. I had that quarter zip hoodie right there. Look, back behind my right shoulder, you got.
Coach, look at them power alleys right there.
Yes. I knew at that point in time.
Coach, you were just hanging on with the hair.
I knew this was the inevitable. I knew that this was the inevitable.
But you couldn't come to the conclusion of like, all right, we got to do it.
Look, I still had something to work with right there.
Yeah,
so we're
good,
okay.
Good. But look in the background, Coach.
80-year-old
lady over there getting knee replacement worked on. What was we doing? We had about a 4
I really wish I had pictures of the hallway and then the stairwell and then the parking lot, parking garage.
Because we had no room to run, so we had to go use the hallway, and we had to make sure there was one guy guarding the door to make sure that there was this exit door from the MRI clinic.
Because if you get the lady walking out with crutches coming out in the middle of your 20-yard sprint,
Coach,
that's not going to be a good thing.
Coach, so we sprinted in there. We played catch in the parking garage. On the top floor, just hoping we didn't make bad
there's
throws.
What, 6 or 7 floors on this parking garage. We're on the top.
So people that may know, that may be listening, St. Vincent's Hospital is where we were, at the bottom floor. There was a parking garage. And there ain't never been a parking spot open in that place. You circle it. You couldn't find one. So we'd always park on the top. But then we decided, okay, we need somewhere to throw. So where do we go? We threw on the top. And this is the winter time into my off season. So it's freezing cold. We just got done running sprints in the hallway, and then we'd go throw at the top of the parking garage. Coach, we made do what we had. We had a 4-foot high wall that separated us and the clinic. And of course, we was trying to get strong. They were trying to get healthy.
That. See, I'm only about 5'2".
Yeah, so you barely saw over.
So I could barely peek over. I look like what's the Home Improvement? What's the man's name?
Yeah, Alan.
Kevin. Yeah. Hey. I remember John Cena being on that far wall right there. He was coming back from a total shoulder or something. He was doing his little isometric elbow against the thing, just looking straight at me, biceps, like freaking 40-inch biceps. And I kind of got scared. I peeked back from around the wall.
So,
But Kevin Wilkes down there, and then we can't be running in the middle of them coming out of that room with injuries. We're running down the hallway. But yes, hallway.
So what did we have? What equipment, Coach? Tell them.
We had 2 squat racks. Here, let me see. I think I got the squat racks right here.
We had a squat rack.
See if I can get. Oh yeah, look at. Wilkes, can you make a video happen right here on the podcast? Look, this is what's that? 315 plus 35. That's 395. I think you might have a 2.5 on there. We're gonna say you had that's 400 right there.
Coach,
look at it. Hey, shoulder on the bar on the far right.
Coach, you think if I fail, you had me?
I got you,
Coach. Look in the left of that picture right there, Coach. We had a wheelbarrow. We had a wheelbarrow.
Booker Brown over there, and he was doing work readiness stuff for coal miners. So they had to go over there and dig their pine mulch right there, put it in the wheelbarrow, and walk it around. We're going in between that and guys walking over the cones because Wilkes over there stepping over the cone, and we're over there getting after it. I mean, that's work right there.
I mean, that's just pure work. We had 1 rack and some weights.
Tell me you still got those shoes.
Well, yeah,
I still got those shoes, Coach.
This man has about 57,000 shoes in his attic.
Yeah, and
that's a Power Tuck Friday. Look, shorts are tall right there. Power Tuck in there. That's great depth. I don't even have skin showing on the back side of my head. That's
Coach, I think, and just to be real, I know we're having a lot of fun. That right there was some of the most fun I ever had in my life. It was just you and I. There wasn't a business plan. There wasn't a model. There was hey, we think if we get strong, we can be better at this game of baseball. The way it turned out, I moved in the off-season to Gardendale, Alabama, and I was renting a little garden home in Gardendale. And my cousin Hunter and my cousin Chase went to Gardendale High School, and I started to, okay, well, if I'm going to move to this area, I need to find somebody that I can train with. So Trey was at the time just getting on the Corn Ferry and trying to make his way in the PGA Tour.
From Adam.
We had met like a time or two, but like we didn't know each other. So, but obviously respected what he'd done in Alabama playing golf, and I knew kind of his background. So I called Trey and I said, Trey, where can I work out? And this is before I knew the golf industry, the golf world, any of it, Coach. So I called Trey Mullinax, and he said, man, that's how he talks, slow country. Dad grew up racing cars. And when you have him on the podcast, I'm sure everybody can go back. I can do my best impression. And Trey Mullinax said, I've got this guy named Cal Tinsley that trained me at Alabama. He said, I think he's doing some stuff around here. Maybe you should go try him out. And that was the only lead I had. So I said, well, I'm going to follow the only lead I had. And I actually said, look, I'm going to go try out because my personality, I'm going to try out a couple things. So I had tried out another spot that was in Birmingham that's more of a national brand, I would say. And I went there, and I didn't have the feeling I wanted. It wasn't the work I was wanting to get in. So then I said, well, I got this guy that Trey said I can go see. Let me go see. So Trey said, I'll take you down there and introduce you to him. So I picked Trey up at the Cracker Barrel in Gardendale off 65. And we rode down. And the first day we met, Coach, was Trey introduced us. And he said, this is Cal. And, we met down there. And it's obviously a filling out process. I'm going through my mind, what do I need? You're going through your mind of, I'm just now getting out of pro ball. So you had a little bit of a feeling of what a professional athlete's, you were in the Braves organization helping with those guys. And so we kind of laid out a plan. I remember sitting down and being like, what are we going to do?
So we laid the plan out. So I had just finished up with the Braves. That conversation happened. Trey was kind of brought into it, like he was kind of going to work out. And then obviously, evidently he did. But so what we ended up doing was I laid out a plan. You had a good relationship with your strength coach at Mississippi State, and we pretty much did a hybrid. It was probably more of his program, and then we did some auxiliaries, and then we kind of added in a little bit more, and then he kind of phased out once you became comfortable.
Yeah,
and that's not uncommon even with guys starting up today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Their affiliate program. And
I mean, you even look at like Gunnar this offseason. He was here, Gunnar Henderson, obviously one of the best shortstops in the world right now, and he came here and he's a little bit of both. You do in a mix, and it's just from our side, we need to get comfortable with who's training us and make sure that I needed to make sure that you weren't going to put me in a situation that was like detrimental. I had been with my strength coach in Mississippi State. I saw his work, Coach Neal, and he was amazing. We still are close to this day. He is one of the ones that helped me get my body in a great shape and foundation to go to play professional baseball. And then obviously then we pick up and our relationship starts. And that's like, okay, what does a programming world even look like? I didn't know personally that how much goes into it, how much detail. But I started to see on your end, okay, well, let's do this. Let's tweak here. Let's try to, and we're still growing. I mean, you're still growing to this day. We got more technology than we've ever had, and we don't want to lean only on technology. Hard work obviously pays off. But we started going through some things and seeing what worked well for my body, and you started to understand my body. And there was even moments in season throughout my career that I would call you and you would help me in season, even though I had a strength coach on a big league team wherever I was. And just to have somebody that knew my body in the way it moved and what we might could do, and somebody that was so invested. I mean, I tell people all the time I'm forever indebted to what Tinsley Performance has done to me. And you know, there's a lot of days of just showing up and doing the work, but there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that goes into programming and getting my body to perform and maximizing just my body personally.
So I think a couple things from that. So when we started off, we were training together.
Yeah,
like it was it wasn't like I'm writing a program and kind of laying in the weeds.
Right.
It was me and you. I mean, we had some athletes in the afternoon, but school wasn't out. So you're training at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, I'm not just going to sit here. So I literally did the workouts with you, which I think that was huge for our relationship.
It was huge because, I mean, bonding over like, hey, we could text each other, man, that I'm so sore. You know, just stuff like that was fun. And you're not just leading. I know you're in a different stage now in the business, and I miss those days. You know, I that was the grassroots. That was like, we're doing it, you know, and you were also tweaking some of the program because of how your body felt. And that was good, too, that you were personally involved in, like, okay, I've done this before. So, yeah, we were getting in there grinding, bro. We were competing against each other and trying to figure it out all along the way. And to me, that's what made you good. That's what made me trust you. That's what made me believe in what you were doing. I said, if he's willing to go and try to learn it himself, then I can hop on board. We're similar age and been through similar experiences in life with playing college baseball at a high level. So all that made me like, all right, I'm in. I'm all the way in.
It's crazy hearing back from it because, I mean, I'm sitting here from the strength coach side like, I got nobody else here. I don't want to be that awkward guy just like sitting around spotting you and kind of waiting on you to take a 2-minute rest break in between or squat sets or whatever. So I'm like, I'm jumping in. Because it was weird, like at the beginning, I didn't know if that was like frowned upon, and then it was kind of almost encouraged on your side, which was great. And yes, that's allowed me to learn. That's probably what I would say to any aspiring strength coach or somebody that thinks that strength and conditioning might be in their future, of like getting into a situation where there's comfortability with your athletes to be able to go in and train with them, because I learned so much during that time. I mean, you'd come home from your off season and years down the road, and you'd like, hey, we started doing this arm care. We started implementing it. Hey, we did a ton of stuff with like finger strength, manual stuff on the table that I learned so much from. But yeah, I do miss those days, because now it's getting to the point where I can't train with our pro guys or really anybody. This morning I did a Murph with Nick Mullins, and he lost our NCAA March Madness bracket. So it took him a while, but he fessed up and he did the Murph. So we did it with me and Grant. I got smoked, but it's great to be able to put your body through what the athletes are putting themselves through. And it doesn't have to happen all the time, but like give yourself a week of like putting yourself through it again, to where you gain. I feel like you gain respect from the athlete, and also you learn a lot. Like, hey, look, there's a recovery process. It's not just all data. It's
right.
Like there's emotions, there's feelings, there's stress, there's things outside of the weight room, outside of sport that everybody's bringing in. That was huge for me to develop, and like thank you for allowing me to train with you during that time. We're training, throwing.
And then talking about outside of sport, things that happen. Like I wasn't married at the time. Tori, who I'm now married to and will forever be married to, is somebody that we have been dating for 7 years. And we fast forward that one off season we were training together. We're getting married. It's November. We're getting married. I'm like, hey, coach, I'm out this weekend. I'm going, a wedding this weekend. And where are you having a wedding at? We're in Alexander City and we're getting married there. And come to find out, your wife now, Jess, she was doing hair and makeup for Tori in the wedding. So it was like this whole, we hadn't been together too long, but then our families started to get to know each other, and we got to know each other. And obviously through church and through serving together and through having kids together and letting them play. Like fast forwarding a lot right now, but I just know in that moment it was like, that's pretty cool. We put that connection together and then allowed them to meet, and just how fun those moments were. We were both young and nobody had kids at the time, and we were just living, trying to figure it out.
I mean, literally, it was like the Wednesday or Thursday before, because you were training the week that you got married.
Yeah.
And I think maybe Wednesday was the last lift, and I was like, that's when we put it together. I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, Jess is going to be gone for this weekend because she's doing hair and makeup at your wedding.
That's right.
So Tori's mom and Jess went on a mission trip to the LA Dream Center.
That's right.
Introduced, obviously, to each other there, knew that she was doing hair and makeup. Tori was looking for somebody, hooked her up with Jess.
Yep.
And then the week of the wedding, we were figuring out that, it's just crazy, like full circle, God moment, small world moment. But that's when it was a little bit more than like in the weight room.
Yeah. And then, even outside the weight room, I think it's fun to reflect back on the time of where I was at in my career. I just had barely a year in the big leagues. I had been bounced around a little bit just from, I got traded from Toronto to Oakland, and trying to get established in the big leagues. I really wasn't rooted and established. I was trying to make a name for myself and trying to stick. You go through those moments of like, am I worthy of being here? Am I good enough to be here? Oh, I think I'm good enough to be here. And then you start thinking, okay, you have a couple bumps in the road and you get demoted and you go back to AAA and you're like, I might never get back to the big leagues. I was in those moments of my career. And just like, only thing I knew is when I laid my head down on the pillow at the end of my career, I was going to say I gave everything I could for my physical body to be as successful as I could. I was going to put in work. And you know that because you've seen it. But I made a conscious decision, and this is for any athlete that's sitting out there that's listening to this or that may come across this, that it didn't come easy. We put in hours, coach, of people, just me and you, that nobody ever saw. We didn't have what we got in here. There was nobody else training with us. And, so those moments, you encouraged me to keep going. There was many moments where, it's hard, bro. You're sore and you're beat up and your body's tired and you're like, this is my off season. I want to go have fun. But we made it a priority to do it. And, we fast forward, we've been a couple different places, and I think that's fun to reflect back on too. And I would love to hear just from you, where did we go from there? You went from, and your journey of building where we got right now.
So, I had one more question before we get into that. What's the mindset of hold on? You just got your first year of big league time. You feel like you're probably a bubble guy, you're not a everyday starter. And then you get demoted, you get called back up, and then sometimes the demotion, you're staying in AAA for a little minute and
right.
You come back up. How do you, so you're also, one of the things that you've told me that stuck with me is after you've now retired, thinking back over, because we trained on Christmas night.
Yeah.
There'd be times where, Christmas Day's over with, we got family and kids, and then they're kind of hanging out the house, we're bored.
Yeah.
You call me up hey, we're training. Because of the mindset of I don't want to miss a day. I don't want anybody to outwork me. I don't want anybody to get an extra rep in than me. And getting your work done, you can lay your head down at night now thinking I literally did everything and maybe even a little too much at times. How do you take that mindset from just holding on, and then how does that migrate into where you were at the end of your career, where you're making decisions to where I'm programming for you because you knew it was a trade year.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole year, because you knew you were about probably on the border of getting traded from the White Sox maybe?
The White Sox to Houston, but I think more importantly, we went from Seattle also to Houston too, So both of those trades. And that was mine because before I was about to become a free agent. So just the hold on mentality is do whatever you can. We went through a eating plan. I needed to put on weight, and I talked to these athletes here, it's a job. Was it easy? Absolutely not. My metabolism runs just as high as anybody else's. And it's slowing down as I've gotten older, and now on the back end of my career, I was trying to manage that a little bit, but we got up to 230 pounds one time. So I did
99.7.
coach.
Shucks.
99.
Give me that 0.3.
I know. So we didn't quite get there, but to me, the hold on mentality was there's moments in life and there's moments in time where I believe you can get ahead of people. And what do I mean by that? I mean, like the Christmas Day aspect. How many people, everybody's going in and working out throughout the week? I think so. Most pro guys are probably putting in work. But are there moments during Thanksgiving break? Are there moments during Christmas where I can put in a little work and not neglect my family, not neglect being around my family? And that's one thing I've had to work on is I wouldn't even go on vacations in the off season because of the fear of missing out of a workout. And that was a bad spot for my soul to be in because I do need the rest, and I had to figure that out over time. But I was in such a headspace that there wasn't going to be a date. And there was times where I'd ask for the key to come to the facility if I could just come lift, like just let me in the place. And I knew that, and I attribute that aspect of, and it was the way I was raised, my parents, my dad. I never saw my dad miss work, my mom, like amazing people. And that's how they raised me.
Just what you do.
Just what we did. We went to work, we worked hard. And so with that mentality and with that trying to get ahead on days that I felt like other people weren't, it gave me a mental edge. Even if it wasn't physically giving me an edge by doing one extra workout, it gave me the mental edge of like, okay, I've outworked that guy, so now I feel like I can compete with him because I didn't feel talented. Like honestly, in high school, and this is for other athletes thinking, oh, we got to throw so hard. I threw 88 to 91 at that time and ended up throwing, almost 100 miles an hour at the end of my career.
So you go 88 to 91. At Mississippi State, you finish up your career in the World Series championship game.
Yeah.
Championship series.
Yep.
Like, what is that? Like, you're throwing
92,
And then you developed a nice two-seam, nice sinker.
Yeah, that was always there. And then just going from the baseball perspective, like,
Because
I knew.
You left college throwing max out, what?
92.
92. And then
Yeah,
we got,
max.
7 miles an hour.
But that's when
pro.
I knew in the offseason I had time to let my arm rest, and we've talked about this.
Yeah.
When I got to pro ball, because high school baseball, and I went to football, and I threw, which it wasn't bad. And then I went to college, and you play fall ball, you play spring season, you go to summer ball, and you never get your body time to recover. And I think that's another topic, but it was important for me. When I got to pro ball, I could come home and I can look you in the eye and say, we're taking 2 months off from throwing, but we're going to get as strong as we can. And that's when I started seeing my velocity creep, is when we really focused on the body. And then we started moving weight fast, and we started moving a lot of weight. And then we started just getting a good base and a foundation for strength. And that's what really paid off in the longevity of that. If I can encourage anybody is to take a fall off if you're not playing baseball in your high school days. If you're not playing football or other sports in the fall, take it off and just focus on your body. Don't even pick up a baseball.
Build the engine.
Just build the engine so you can have more RPMs when you do get out there. And that's the thing. Like at some point, you got to let your body go to the shop and say, hey, I'm just gonna work on it. I don't care if I throw hard. I'm gonna take time off from throwing. That's what I did, and I was able to, I think, translate that. And we started to see that over time. I think it was really good for us.
You can go down a whole rabbit trail about what you just brought up about travel ball and like giving yourself a break and building the engine. I mean, because you go from 92 in college, elite college.
Yeah.
I mean, Mississippi State wasn't that great when you started there, but when you ended in the championship game of the World Series, I mean, that's the ultimate.
Right.
And then you developed 7 miles an hour over the time you're a pro, and it's like that doesn't get developed by these PBR and perfect game events, and like always, like, because we have athletes in here, and this is maybe a segment to talk to them. It's like you're playing all the time, and you have an excuse of like not training because you're playing, and it's like, well, you keep doing that, you can't ever really get an edge on the competition, in my opinion. Like reps are beneficial,
Right.
But like, what about reps underneath the bar, or not saying everything's without a squat, but like speed, strength, power.
Yeah, well, in those moments of playing games, you're developing skill, and skill acquisition is huge. Obviously, we know that. You got to be able to throw the ball, you got to catch, you got to be able to hit. All those skills are important, but we're not focusing on the strength aspect of it as much, which I think translates into what you're seeing some of these athletes be able to do nowadays is to throw hard, and that's what happened to me. And I don't, there's 100 different thoughts on that, but I do know that the weight room at some stage in your life is very important, and it's got to be important. And then we started to develop that fun box we got in there called TrackMan. And so with that, and when I was in Mississippi State, we were one of the first colleges to have TrackMan. So I started to see where the game was going. And the game was going to, I needed to throw harder because I saw that the value, and this is one thing that I would challenge any athlete listening to me from whatever sport, you have value. Somebody that's making decisions puts value on you, whether it be football, whether it be baseball. And in the world of baseball, I saw the value of a pitcher going from pitchability and getting guys out to throwing really hard and have really good stuff. Whether you like it or not, that's the way the game was going. And I saw the trend happening. So I said, hey, if it's going this way, I know that if I throw the ball really hard, there's a risk of getting injured. But I do know that if I don't throw hard, then I might not have a job. So you're trying to weigh the options of like, how do we do this responsibly? And thankfully, I made it till I was 28 years old till I had my first surgery. And it was nothing that we did wrong, nothing anybody did wrong. But it was just, we redlined the engine a lot. And I was throwing hard, and I kept getting jobs because of it. But I knew I was running the risk. And that's what, I think the weight room translates into: hitting the ball harder, having higher exit velo in baseball, throwing harder, and then obviously running and stealing bases. We've seen it with a lot of athletes that have come through here, and we've been able to help a lot of athletes, me included. And that's the trend. I would say just find your value, find what they're putting value in, and try to go pursue it. And if that means stop playing in the fall and coming to work out, then that's what it is.
And that's one of the things that separated you more than anything else, in my opinion, because you're a student of the game. And we can talk about this in a little bit, and I might send you the video, Wilkes, of like what you sent me, a slow motion video of you in the same mound, same building, same big league stadium, Astros, Seattle, Hawkeye video, super, super slow motion capture. They look literally identical. Like the videos looked identical, and you're like, you sent it to me because it was like late one night. Like, I got to figure out the difference here because I'm like dropping velo, or my two seam wasn't moving as much or whatever. I can't remember exactly what it was. You're like, there's something off. And I'm like, oh gosh, I got to give him something right here. But these videos look like identical, literally. And we figured out that you were kind of sitting in your backside a little too much because you had some hip problems or lower back. And so we're trying to like use our lower half because we knew the velocity was kind of down a little bit. So you're kind of sitting in that backside in order to use it kind of more of like a cue for yourself to drive, which created a lack of extension, I think, that we found. And just kind of, you started standing taller on your backside, and then everything kind of came back like that, which is like, that was a moment for me where I'm like, this dude's on a different level. Like you're coaching yourself and spending more time than the coaches are. And like you can speak on that because it's like, the coaches are going to give you a certain allotted amount of time, but that's kind of be it. You got to figure it out on your own.
At the end of the day, you got to be your own best coach, and you got to figure out what works for you. And you got to listen to what I encourage a lot of young athletes to do is listen to everyone that's going to coach you, because if you get into pro ball, college and pro ball, you're going through the minor leagues. I went through. I started in low A one year. I went low A pitching coach for a month. I went high A pitching coach for a little over 2 months. I went to double A pitching coach for a week. I went to triple A pitching coach for a month. And then I went to the big leagues.
For math majors.
So I went to 5 teams in about 6 months.
5.5 months.
Yeah.
Let's call it 6.
Yeah.
To go from drafted
the whole first full year.
How much money did you get paid as a signing bonus, senior signee?
$5,000.
$5,000. I asked all the AI I could to try to figure out who in the world has made it up faster with that amount on signing bonus. I don't know if there's anybody that's done that.
I was one of the first from the draft class to make it, but I also, it was a blessing. Obviously, I had a great year. But
bro, $5,000 and you made it up in 5.5 months. It's freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, and I was polished. I was coming out of college. I was older. I learned how to pitch and all the things. And then I started to see velo, and they were like, oh, this dude can pitch and he's got velo. Let's see if he can make it at the next level and the next level. And thankfully, I pitched really well that year. I got to Toronto, and I pitched like 4 innings out of the bullpen and never been a reliever in my life. They put me in the bullpen just to face a few hitters, and then they traded me to Oakland. But going back to like what I think what I'm trying to express is like, I had all those coaches in a year's time. And then many more after that, playing for another 11 years after that is in the professional baseball. So the amount of people I came across that wanted to help me, nobody that's given me input has said, I'm doing this to make Kendall a worse pitcher. Everybody, every coach is going to come in and say, I want you to do this, or try this, or try that. And they're not doing it to make you worse. The worst thing we can do as an athlete is say, oh, he messed me up because he changed me. Well, no. We need to listen to everyone, try it, be very respectful by trying it, and then say, I've tried this. I don't think it works well for my body, because you have to figure out your own body. And now, how can we keep having that conversation with that coach to make it fit who you think you are, and not to have any ego involved? Some coaches have been there and said, try this, and it's been so good for my career. I loved it. But the worst thing you can do is sit there and say, Coach told me to do this and he made me worse, and now you're done with baseball and you get to blame somebody else. No, lay your head down on the pillow at night and know that you did everything. That's what I'm still trying to harp on. And I think that, for me, I love the body aspect and trying to figure out your own body. And going back to that is, how do we do it? And that's by trial and error. Just keep trying, try something different, see what works.
So you, correct me if I'm wrong, you picked up a two-seam playing catch.
Picked up, I threw cutter playing. I had a two-seam going into it, but in pro ball, we were trying to throw a four-seam or develop some other pitch. And I was really having a hard time throwing a slider. I didn't, because of the way I throw. And we didn't have all the technology with slow-motion cameras at the time to kind of tell. And we were just new in that. And I was trying to figure out how to throw something that went down and away to a righty. And we were in Dunedin, Florida. I think we were on the road in Port St. Lucie or somewhere, playing in the summer game. It was a day game, and we had a bullpen that morning. And I was on a six-pack, which is 6 mounds in the spring training facility.
Not the six-pack you're thinking about.
Not the six-pack.
This is a bullpen.
Yeah, so a bullpen, and it was hot. I mean, it was 10 o'clock in the morning, and we're out there trying to tinker around. And I'm just playing around with four-seam grip, and developed a cutter during that season that really took me to the next level. And it was like, okay, well, he developed something that can go away to the righty and to the lefty, and it neutralized everybody sitting on just two-seam fastball from him. And that's when I think they started to see, okay, he can learn too. I think there's a coachability aspect of every coach is looking, is this guy coachable? Is he going to work hard? Does he have a feel for his body? All these things we're talking about is very important for a young athlete. And just to say, keep going. Keep trying to figure it out on your own too.
I mean, because you have to have that mindset going in, though, of like, I'm tinkering with something, because ultimately I have a goal in mind. I'm chasing something that goes down and away to a righty.
Yeah,
I got to figure that out somehow. So whether that's like 6 or 7 other guys that are pitching next to you on the six-pack, that you're kind of looking at their metrics or looking at how they're throwing, asking them how they're gripping the seams, like that's where I feel like some of these athletes that we have right now don't understand like the intricacies or like the details that we're looking at in order to ultimately get to where you're trying to get, which is just develop a different pitch that goes a direction that you don't have yet.
Yeah.
But I'm going to figure it out somehow, whether it's the 10 coaches that you have or a summer league at 10 a.m.
Yeah, my dad always told me never become complacent. So what does that look like? Never become complacent means always try to learn and grow, always try to get better. And so I was comparing myself. I think this is an imitation game. Life is all about imitation. Very few people have made something that's not imitated. And I did a study on Sam Walton and the founder of Walmart, and he said what made me good was I went to all these other stores, all these other department stores, and I saw what they did well, and I took what they did well from each place, and I made Walmart. And he said, that's it. I'm not good at coming up with anything. I was just good at imitating people. So for me, I feel like my whole journey and my whole life was good at imitating people. I would watch big league games. What are these guys doing? How are they getting outs? Okay, they're throwing harder. Let me try to imitate that. Okay, they got multiple pitches. Let me try to imitate that. I was already throwing a lot of strikes, so that was another one. I'd already learned that skill. But I needed other skills, and I needed to imitate these people that were making millions of dollars. And I said, well, if I want to do that, then I need to say, what are they doing? Even in your business right now, what are we doing? We're marketing, we're doing podcasts, we're growing, we're learning, we're investing. You're imitating what other businesses have done. and you're doing it in your own. And I think that's important for other people to say, you don't have to come up with anything new. There's so many ways on YouTube and heck, TikTok and Instagram, whatever you want to watch now to learn. I mean, Trevor Bauer has all kinds of stuff. There's people that are in the big leagues that will teach, and you just got to go figure out how to do it.
I love the everything in life's about imitation. I mean, you're imitating somebody, whether you're imitating Christ,
right,
from the spiritual aspect, or all the way down to imitating a business or imitating another big leaguer. But one of the things that I'd like for you to kind of talk about a little bit is like, I feel like you have done a great job of saying we.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of guys to the imitation side of it, like, I did this. I as a strength coach did this. I as a player did this. Well, like, I mean, yeah, ultimately you are the one on the mound. But, like, there's so many people that go into it. And I like even how you refer to Tinsley Performance as we.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been together before Tinsley Performance was a thing. So I think this is a we just
right.
as much. But, like, speak on that, on, like, because that changes your mindset.
Yeah.
Like, the whole paradigm shift of, like, it's not about me. Ultimately,
right.
I am trying to digest that. But, like, speak on the we aspect of, like, everything that you've done.
Yeah, I mean, language is important. Words are, I mean, we're talking about we and we're talking I. We're talking a small little change in everything. But it shifts, and the thought process in the soul, obviously, without 2018 happened, I had surgery on my elbow. My first year arbitration, I was making $2.36 million. And I had an elbow surgery, and I thought I was on top of the world before that. I was living reckless. I was put on a front with a lot of people. I got baseball taken away. I believe the Lord allowed that in my life to be disciplined. During that moment, I grew up in a Southern Baptist church, just going back a little bit to the we and I aspect. There was a lot of I involved in before 2018. And to me, I'm so thankful for those moments. Like, I went 18 months without pitching in the big leagues. I thought it was the worst thing that could ever happen in my life. Now, reflecting back, it was the best thing that ever happened. I sat down and I said, I'm going to stop living religion. I knew who God was. I tell people all the time, I grew up in a great house, went to a great church growing up. I had fire insurance. I just knew that God came and he sent his son Jesus down on the cross for our sins personally. And I believed that. But it stopped there. And I was living a crazy life. And I was like, what am I doing? During that time, when I sat down every day before I went to rehab, I started to open up the Word of God. And I said, God, speak to me. I'm going to try to learn. I don't know anything about reading this Bible. I need help. So I started to do that, and it changed everything. It changed my soul. It changed my heart. And through the grace of God, allowing all that to happen, it changed who I was. I'm not who I was, and I'm not who I want to be, but I'm thankful I'm on that journey still. And we're all on that journey. And I started to say, okay, God, and when I say we, God is 100% involved in all that we, because without God, none of this is possible. And I started to look at myself and realize that I didn't do all this on my own. None of this is on my own, really. There's so many people in my life that I need to be thankful for. And I heard Coach Thompson, who is one of the best guys in the world. If my father, I tell people all the time, Tori says, you tell people that all the time. If my father was not here, that man right there, I would adopt as my dad. You're my dad. He is awesome. The head coach at Auburn, he was my pitching coach at Mississippi State. He was speaking at one time, we were speaking together at a place, and he said, the turtle didn't get on the fence post by itself. I said, man, that's pretty good right there. Somebody helped that turtle get up there. And I feel like that turtle.
That's
like
good. I love that.
You, personally, been mentors in my life, people that have been in my community that have helped me along the way. My agent, Ryan Glachowski, has helped me a lot. Like, there's so many people to be thankful for. It's never an I, without all the team and the people I surrounded myself with, Tori, my dad, my mom, my brother, my kids now. Like, we just have so much to be grateful for. And if I started to really, because I haven't invested a dime into this place. I've always pointed people towards your business. You don't pay me anything for promotions or nothing, and I don't want to be paid. I just want people to come see what I experienced, and that's why I do it, So that's why I say we, because I feel like I have an ownership aspect of this business, but I don't, and I say that just out of total transparency. Like, people probably think, oh, he's putting on something because, we ain't partnered together in no financial scheme. Like, it's me saying, I love what you do here. I know what you stand for. And we got to keep going. And that's why I say we, because we are going to help so many more athletes, because I'm going to point them right through that door over there and say, go work out and go get better. And I'm going to keep doing it.
Come on, man. Well, I appreciate that, man. It means so much to me. I mean, I feel like we've built Tinsley Performance on your shoulders because I shared the vision. Literally, I shared this vision of starting Tinsley Performance, not knowing the name of it, but like with my wife, Jess, now of 11 years, when we our first date. Like, I didn't believe in going to like dinner and a movie. I wanted like dinner and like ride around.
Yeah.
We can't talk during a movie.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get to know this girl I'm trying to like marry.
Yeah.
And so we're driving around and I was just sharing a vision. She thought I was just reaming her with questions. I'm like, I just want to get to know you. She had never been involved in something like that. So anyways, our first conversation really in the car ride after dinner was, I want to ultimately open up my own spot and be able to share the love of Christ in a weight room and train bodies physically, mentally, and spiritually through the avenue of strength conditioning. Now, since we have different dynamic through performance training, because we have pitching, we'll have hitting, we'll have all that. And so, it's just like being able to train the temple that God's given us. And that's what I want to honor you and like the temple that you have, the body that you have that has the Holy Spirit within it. Like, you've done everything that you could have done, in my opinion, to maximize your God-given potential. I mean, you're, again, $5,000 senior signee out of Mississippi State. Yeah, it's a great club, but like, you ain't supposed to make it up in 5.5 months.
Yeah.
Like, you ain't supposed to spend 10 years there. You got a gold card in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
That thing says, I've been in the big leagues for 10 years, and I can go to any MLB stadium and slap that thing at the box office and say, give me the best seat in the house, me and my buddy. And you got that because of because of allowing other people to come into your circle and take that information and figure out what works for you, and slow riding it, because it's like, okay, I got Cal Tinsley over here. I kind of like the guy. I like the vibe. I feel like he stands for something, but I'm going to still use Mississippi State's program. And a couple of years later, like, Mississippi State's kind of out of it, and then it's us, and then we're going from, I mean, literally the next spot is over here. I got a picture of it, like us putting some racks together that I bought refurbished for $300 a piece from Wright Equipment, which shout out to Wright. He did a great job. I mean, helped me out with that. But if you look in the back of that picture, we go, none of those med balls were mine. The rack was not mine. I say mine because I was the only person in it. But I made those boxes at the house. I bought some 2x4s and some, that's not even plywood. It's like a 2x12 I cut up and some 2x4s. And a ladder that you can't see in it, and a physio ball that I still have that physio ball. I remember because I
doing it though. Look at that place.
I thought that I was doing a great job. I was drawing the TP logo on the ball, and like, I messed it up, but it's still out there today. We're still using it. And so going from champion, and then we went to Godspeed there for a little bit. First baby was on the way, Brooklyn, and then we parted ways right before that. And like, we started Tinsley Performance right here, April 20th of 2018. Brooklyn was born on May 6th. Sorry about that. May 4th. Yeah, cut that. May the 4th be with you.
Coach, when you got 6 kids, it's hard to keep up with all these. 7, 8. How many you got?
4. We do have one on the way right now, so technically we have 5. We just ain't seen them yet. But it's like, I wasn't even going to talk about this, but that situation in my life was back against the wall.
Yeah.
Like, I had a conversation with my previous employer. It's like, I don't know if I'm going to go and cut grass. My dad had a landscape and lawn care company. I could be doing that because I got to fend for my family. It's my first kid on the way. I don't know what that's like. I don't know what it's like being a dad and like the weight of that. And then I said, I might be across the street and doing strength conditioning and competing against you. And here we are. We're still in business, and they're not. Like, not a stab at them, but like, we're still in it. And it's been 8 years, and we started with a box, a physio ball, and an agility ladder, which we don't really use. But but just like, that's that's like where we came from. That's like the grit, like the determination of like, I'm not going to get beat. Like, I'm a small guy, small in stature. Like, I'm not going to be a showcase guy. It's not going to be front and center, but like, we're going to be here every single day, and we're going to keep getting after it. And that's what you've done as well.
But I think, even speaking of that, the part that hopefully, I just felt I felt at peace, because we did go to another place for a minute, and we trained, and you were hired by a different company, and I was following you because I'm a loyal dog. Like, you going over there, I'm going to go with you. Like, I don't got nowhere else to go. I know we under a different roof, but we'll figure it out.
That's right.
So we went over there. We had a great time. We trained well. We trained hard. I remember Brewer got stuck on trying to do a deadlift one time. Like, there was great memories at when we were over there. Like, and
bro.
Coach, we pushed it hard over there too. But then in that moment, and I think is you were at a spot that, and I think this is where we all need encouragement because people have done it in my life. I felt peace about it, and I said to you, we're going to look back, this is going to be the best thing ever happened to you. And you couldn't believe it in the moment. People told me that during moments that I didn't believe it. But we need people in our life to tell us that when they really feel it. I felt it. I said, this is going to catapult you into what's next. You needed this. Because if not, I don't know if you would have branched out because our personalities are very much the same. We're risk adverse. And taking that risk, it forced you to take the risk. You had to make a decision. Otherwise,
I definitely wouldn't have done it at that time in my life.
Sure. And you might, we don't know what the future will, but I believe that was something that was allowed to happen in your life for us to be able to say, let's go do it. Let's figure this thing out. And, even when we were at that spot right there in 2018, I had that elbow surgery, so I stayed in Arizona for a one-off season. So we communicated a lot, but I was at distance. When I came back into town for Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays, during my rehab process, we worked out at that place, but I missed a lot of that season. You were grinding, trying to build it, trying to get a couple people in, and I missed the camaraderie of that, the off season and going through that stage of life and the journey of your business. But I ain't missed that
Look
right
at
there.
him, look at him.
He's back.
Big legs, big paycheck.
Big legs, big paycheck.
Hey,
Had
yo.
to show the young bucks how it's done. Look at him.
Coach.
He just sat over on the side when they had 225, 315 on the bar. They said, "Oh, you went to my warm-up
Big
set
legs,
yet."
big paycheck.
Coach, I mean, we had a
Let
great
go.
time, and even in those moments, competing with other people in the gym. It's fun.
1, 2, 1, up.
Oh, we're doing
Finish,
tempo,
let's go. Last
Bulgarian
one.
split
5,
squat, barbell
4,
on the back.
3, 2, 1, 2, 1, up.
Hey, Coach, I thought that we had it made. I had a TP logo on the wall. We had TP logo on the ground, on the
Coach,
on the
that was-
platforms we built. Like, that was,
Coach, you so frugal.
oh, my frugal.
Where you get the plywood from refurbished from
Yes,
somebody,
yes.
you borrowed it.
Yeah, boy, I'll give it back.
I
after.
borrowed that plywood. I'm gonna paint it. I'll give it back to you.
Man, but it builds character, integrity, like trustworthiness, like leaning on, like those conversations that you had, like, Cal, this is going to be great. I remember sitting in the office whenever there was just like some price changes that were going to happen, and so I was like, we got to part ways, and I'm going to start Tinsley Performance. I looked at him dead in the eye and I said, thank you. I was like, it's like it was an emotionless thank you, but I knew that my soul was saying thank you.
Yeah.
My mind was not saying
Right.
to say thank you. I was so many different words that I wanted to say at that time, but I was like, thank you for this. We're going to go from glory to glory. God's promised me that. Like, this is going to skyrocket me into the next chapter. Unfortunate timing from my perspective, but God's outside of time, and He
Right.
knows that these things are going to be good in the end. And so, like I just think that, I mean, you've done an outstanding job, and maybe speaking on that too, of just like kind of like the conversation I had with him. Like, thank you for this. This is going to be great. I'm going to go ahead and make that mind shift right now, and then we're just not going to stop.
Yeah.
And
I
so-
think it's good to be doubted sometimes. Like, we all need it, and I hope every athlete in here feels it. It's good to be doubted. Hopefully, it burns a little fire under you, and I'm gonna go figure it out. And sometimes betting on yourself is the best bet you can ever make. And I believe that too. And so I knew you was betting on yourself in that moment, and I knew I was gonna do everything I could to help you. And that meant I had to keep playing ball. So I had to keep performing too to help you. So it helped that we had a great relationship up to that point. But afterwards, I said, all right, I'm all in. Like, not that I wasn't all in before, but now it's us. Like, he got his name stamped on something, I'm gonna go with it. And so that's when we started building we started reaching out. We went to another place right after that and rented a place. We stayed there for a good period of time.
So River Chase for about not even a year, then Go Play for about 4 years.
Yep. Which was a
And
great
then-
spot. We loved it. It was hot. We had no AC.
Unbelievable.
It was cold. It
It
was
was great.
We had no heat.
We had a weight room, and then there's like an indoor turf area. And to start off, I was like, hey, Lisa, like, I just need to be able to get back and forth. So we cut an 8x8 hole, like just
A hole in the
a
wall.
hole in the wall. Literally cut the hole in the wall,
Yeah.
like you would put a garage door there, but we didn't
Right.
put a garage door, so we could walk back and forth. And so forever indebted to them and Go Play to allow Tinsley Performance to continue to roll over there. And I just knew at that time we weren't able to expand the way I felt like the Lord wanted it to happen.
Yeah.
We were kind of stuck inside an umbrella, and again, that was an unfortunate. So the facility in River Chase, and this is not all about me and Tinsley Performance. I'm just saying,
But
this
it is.
'cause
It's part of our
'cause
story,
the
you know?
story of us.
Yeah.
But like, so at River Chase, that was our first spot. Dr. Bragg, he owned the facility, and then they kind of like were like, all right, this is probably not. We're losing revenue on it as a whole, and so they shut it down. And he gave me about a month and a half. So then I found Lisa over at Go Play.
Yep.
Did that for 4 years. Another company came in and bought her out. That's a whole different podcast in and of itself. But like in that, I didn't want to stay and join forces with that travel organization. And so I was like, all right, we got to find a spot. Literally like last minute, this facility comes open because I had been looking for like a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
Nothing came up. Nothing. I had backup plans about places we could go that were not ideal. But then this opened up. I was like, Lord, I'm going to put an offer in on it. And like, if it's supposed to happen, like,
Yeah.
let's do it. And
We
if
went
it's
and looked
supposed
at
to not
places
happen-
together. You know, we were
Correct.
going
Yep.
with real estate agent looking for places to.
And then here we are. We're sitting on 3 acres. We're about to expand to a hitting facility and possibly have a turf infield in the back and have a true one-stop shop for
Yeah.
what we have. And this was not in the cards at all anywhere else. I mean, even in Birmingham area, like, was not going to be able to have a place with land and stuff like that. And so now it's just, I guess what I'm saying is growth, the organic growth, and like being in situations where your back's against the wall, or like very unfortunate timing situations, meaning got fired, got a baby on the way,
Yeah.
to like, hey, you got a month to figure out where you're going to go, to like, hey, you got to get out of this spot and you don't have anything. Like, you
Yeah.
got to go like purchase a spot. And then it's, okay, well, we get the spot, and then it's training athletes until 6:30 at night, going home being a dad, and then
Right.
coming back and like ripping all the tile up in the floor in here and stay until 4 a.m. and then going and take a nap and then getting them up at 6 and doing it again and doing that for like 3 months.
Yeah, and not
to
that-
make it happen. So
you
like,
know.
and you've done the exact same thing, and I think that people need to hear about the. I mean, you talk about like, oh, well, at school it was uphill both ways and snowing
Yeah.
and all that, but it's like there's times where you just have to put everything else aside. It's like, I'm going to make this work. I don't care how much work I have to put in. I'm just not going to stop. I'm going to be consistent, and I'm going to outwork everybody around me. And God's given me this opportunity. I'm going to steward it well. And that's kind of my next thing for you, of just like stewardship with what you got.
Yeah, so that word's important for our family. It's important for Tori and I, and Lila, Lainey, and Holly. We talk about stewardship a lot. That's my 3 daughters. And we talk about that none of this is ours. Even my kids, I believe the Lord has allowed me to be a steward on this earth to steward the relationship well. Like, I still believe that they're God's children, and He's blessed us with the awesome privilege of being their parents. He's also blessed us financially with what we have, and all of us, well, whatever we have, we need to steward that well. I pray, could I go play golf and fish every single day and just hang out and not make an impact? Absolutely. That's not what I'm called to do. I'm called to steward my time well. And if that means coming down here and loving on some kids, man, and just hanging out with them and maybe teaching some pitching, then that's what I do. Or if it means going and making a living and continue to make some money to then be a blessing to other people, that's what we're called to do. And I pray that, stewardship's a strong word. What are we going to do with what we've been blessed with? And then once again, when my heart and soul started to change, I stopped thinking about, all this is for me and myself and my family, to then, okay, well, how can I help? How can I be a vessel? And our motto at the house is, we want to be a stream and not a reservoir. So we want stuff to flow through us and not come to us and just stop and be a reservoir and sit there.
Say that again.
So that's us personally. Like, stuff has to flow through us. Being a stream, not a reservoir. And I try to view our family that way, and trying to raise our kids that way, and trying to to be the best husband and father that I can, but also being the best Christ follower, trying to be the greatest friend that I can. And I don't get it all right all the time, I promise. Like there's many times I've got to ask for forgiveness, and I think that's another part of leadership is when we do mess up, we got to go back and there's times we've butted heads in the past, like brothers, and I've had to go back and say I'm wrong. You know, we've had times where we both have rough moments in our journey. I remember Tori had a miscarriage one day, and I found out when she was at the doctor's office, and we were at the gym together training, and you praying over me, and like how important that is. And so there's moments like that, man. It brings tears to my eyes that we have that relationship. So that's the part of like stewardship. Like, how are you going to steward your business? How am I going to steward what I've got going on and what's next in my life? I'm 35 years old, and I don't want to be done. I want to keep going. I want to keep making a difference, and I want to keep making an impact.
Literally that moment where you get a phone call, I could tell that wasn't a great phone call because I knew that Tori, we had talked about it. We knew Tori was at the doctor for a visit. And then you pulled me to the side room over there, and I was like, we just started praying.
Yeah, it was during COVID, like right after COVID time, and you started praying, and I don't know why stuff like that happens. It gives Tori an impact to talk to other women now that have gone through similar things in their life, and and even moments that we've all had in our lives that have not been, we feel positive, gives us influence in other people's lives to communicate when they go through the same problems. I've had surgeries. I get to talk to people differently now that I've see people in here with surgeries. So I think, we went through a bonding moment there, and, even during COVID, going back to the training side of it, the gym shut down, Coach. The whole world shut down, and we don't know what's going on. So there's moments in COVID, me and you was at the house training. I'd come to your house. You were living in
Trustful.
Like your
Garden
first home,
yep.
like a little garden home in Trustful in a neighborhood.
You're driving up from Homewood, so a 30-minute drive for you to drive north
I drove,
of town.
And Coach, you had a detached garage. My heavens. Coach, we set up
We had it made, though.
Coach,
had
we got a picture of that?
I have a picture.
We'll get a picture
we
of
can put
that.
a picture on
hey,
there.
Because
I did. There's a couple of videos still for like exercise demo videos in that garage. We had a mattress,
Coach, a mattress and a
on
rack.
the wall and a rack.
We do the mattress, we do med balls, and we be up there early.
We threw med balls against the
Jess
mattress.
Lee would be in the house sleeping, and we'd be waking her up. There was one morning we woke her up, and your phone started ringing, and you answered. She calling from inside the house. She was so mad. I knew I could. You could hear the voice outside the phone when somebody's talking and got to pull up their ear. I knew she wasn't happy. And you made us shut it down, Coach. I'm so glad that you put her in front of me that day.
Oh, my
because we didn't throw any more med balls. But, we ran down the street there. We would run to the little elementary school where it had a grass pad, and you would throw with me. Coach, I'd stretch your arm out as far as it could go.
I'm 3-hopping. I need tandem relays out there. I need somebody.
But even in those moments,
Throw it in the parking lot. That ball, when we got finished with it.
Coach scuffed all the way
mangled
up. A rag ball. Man, but those moments were fun too. But going back, like that was kind of our COVID time. We had that, and then obviously that with Tori came up after a little bit, and we had moments, and I still pray for your business often. I'm forever, like I said, indebted to you, and like those are moments that you need friends. And this is we're friendship. I know you run a business now, and you got to train a lot of athletes, and you're making an impact on a lot of people, and they see the way you operate. They see the Holy Spirit go with you everywhere, and that's important. I have a little different feel, and I'm glad we're getting to talk about this on the podcast because this is who you are. I want people to know your story too. Like I'm thankful you're trying to have me on your podcast, but I feel like this is our podcast, and like I need now people to know your story and where you've come from because they see what you've built, and this ain't the finished product either. Just like I was talking about in life. I'm thankful I'm not where I was. I'm not where I'm going. You in the middle of it with your business and your spiritual walk too. And we're going to continue to grow this thing. We're going to build a facility. We're going to build who knows where it goes. We got big dreams, and I think big dreams are great. And we're going to get there responsibly, and we're going to steward whatever time frame God has. We're going to do it well, and we're going to steward the finances well, and we're going to be honest. We're going to have integrity. We're going to stand upright. We're going to look people eye to eye when we make a mistake. We're going to apologize. We're going to do all of it. We're going to make it right on the back end, and we're just going to be real and say, hey, I ain't got it all figured out, but I'm going to love every athlete that comes through this door, and I'm going to help them be better. And that's what we're going to do at Tinsley Performance. So I think, that season of life really taught me a lot during COVID and how you were able to help me.
I mean, there's no, one of the things I think I might have mentioned on another one is like there's no growth without obstacle.
Yeah.
And Denzel Washington said there's no, don't confuse movement with progress.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like obstacles in your way, not that you just kind of like doing everything to kind of figure it out, but like seeking guidance, seeking prayer. Like I know, I mean, you've laid hands and prayed over me. I've done the exact same thing for you to get clarity on like, is this what the Lord has for this time, this season? Whether it's family, whether it's business. But yeah, ultimately I think, and I don't know if I came back to the point that you were making earlier, but like impact. And so I got convicted by the Holy Spirit about this. This was last year, went up to the American Baseball Coaches Association conference. I had a booth up there, had Kendall, had Whitlock, had Barnett, had Gunner, had Tolbert, all those images behind me of like, hey, training athletes, this is what we do kind of deal. And I was telling people, like, hey, we're going up there to make some sales and get some team contracts. And the Lord just hit me. And he was like, you don't make sales, you make an impact. And sales are a part of it. Like making revenue, making money as a professional player is a part of it. But if we're doing that without making an impact on the next generation in our house, with my wife, with my kids, and like I think that's the struggle that everybody goes through, men in general, but like go-getters of like not ever wanting to stay stagnant. And that's where I know you've had a ton of conversations with me, and you've led me in areas that you might not even know about just from your consistency in prayer life, and whether it's sending me a text at 4:30 in the morning because you're up praying over my family, like praying over the business. Like growth is not optional. Like we will grow.
Yeah.
Because I mean, complacency and monotony is just like not something that I'm okay with sitting with. But I guess I want to honor you and your, like you were talking about earlier about not really knowing how to read the Bible. Well, like, not to say you figured it out, but like we just stacked days and
I imitated a guy that I knew that was my team chaplain in Mississippi State. He said, "This is how you do it." And I said, "Well, I'm learning from somebody else." And once again, imitation game. And then, adding to that, I mean, we have a purpose. Your purpose, ultimately was well defined. You're going to, train athletes spiritually and physically. But if you lose sight of your purpose, then you become profit, right? So I think it's purpose, and then you got to treat people well, and then the profit follows. If we put profit first and we forget about the rest, we might can make a buck. I think we'd probably figure out how to make some money. But over the lifespan of it, that ain't what we want. And just to see that like transpire in your life is okay. Well, the profit came later, but you built it on integrity and what's your purpose, your God-given purpose. And there's been moments, I mean, we go to a wonderful church of the Highlands, and we have been in moments of, we do 21 days of prayer and fasting. And I believe in prayer. I believe in fasting. I believe it's biblical. And I don't believe we would never talk about this to say, look at what we've done. But there's been moments of those 21 days showing up, praying in a group of people in a corporate setting, but also praying individually for 21 days and also fasting for some of those days at a time and just seeking the Lord is one of the reasons why you're growing in your business. The hand of God is on this business. And that's the part of me that is inspiring, and to see it play out and to see how we've kept that as our core value has been fun. And I would encourage anybody that without God's blessing on something, then don't go do it, And I know we've talked about a lot during this podcast. We've talked faith, we've talked grit, and we're going to continue to do all the things. So, and we're talking about leaving a legacy. And I think fast forward, and the legacy I want to leave at this place is not that, I mean, you talk about this shoulders, built on shoulders, this, that, and the other. No, I want to leave a legacy that a kid from Alexander City that was 165, 170 pounds out of high school going into college could play 10 years. So why can't you? And also a legacy of don't make this your idol because I did it for a long time. And a legacy of there's a better way, which is through God and through our relationship with our Heavenly Father. And those are the two things I really want to, the legacy I would like to leave in this place is now I get to show up and drink coffee. And if I work out, I work out. Like, there's no pressure. So, like, there's no pressure to me to perform anymore. So the legacy I want to leave is like when athletes, I've been trained with athletes the other day in here. They ain't know me from nobody. That's fine. I don't care. I don't want to be known. But when you pointed it out to them, then it automatically gives me influence. And when I have influence, I want to use that respectfully, and I want to use it to the best of my ability to make an impact. So that's the legacy I want to leave in these four walls and the ones that we're going to build here in the future.
It was the other day. Kendall shows up, does agility work. He's still rehabbing a hip surgery, but he's doing some agility work with the athletes. And I was walking around to one of our staff members and was like, I bet they don't. There might be one guy in this group that knows who this cat is, who Kendall is. And so finally, at the end of it, Kendall's kind of giving them some snippets of just information and kind of challenges some guys competing. And then I pulled them all together. I was like, do y'all know who this guy is? I mean, it's Kendall Graveman right here, 10 years in the big leagues. He's got a gold card in his pocket. I think you had it with you.
Well, I had it in my backpack in the car, yeah.
And so he came back in and showed it to him. And it's just like, I don't know, man. Being able to have a place like this, it's not too many other places, if any, around the country that put Jesus first and all that, but just like mentorship and guidance and like you being around, just popping in for a day.
Right.
And being able to give back and make that impact. I mean, you see it all over the place here. I mean, my goal, like talking about praying, like I've had every year I've made it a complete goal of mine to make sure that there's one night where I come over here and we just worship. Mm-hmm. Before we opened up these doors and had our first real training session, I had my like 10 closest friends come over. We played worship music in the gym, and then we just walked around this place. We gave it was actually like 3-in-1 oil. It was some type of oil. We're anointing the doorposts. Like we're praying over this place to make as big of an impact as we can. Mm-hmm. Physical body is like I don't want anybody hurt in this place. I don't want anybody hurt when they leave this place. I want to be able to make disciples in whatever we're doing, and ultimately that's what you've done. And I got a picture pulled up right here of like just you doing your thing in the big leagues and just thinking, I mean, it says this season, Seattle and Houston. So like that was a year you had both spots, but like there was a time where you finished up with Seattle in a game, playing Houston, get traded, and walked literally across the field with your Seattle bag and put it down in the locker room at Houston with a team that had just come off the scandal.
Yeah.
Didn't know. I mean, that's kind of like what you kind of probably thought about a bunch of those guys. So like, but then the interviews that you're having afterwards, and everybody that talked about the trade was like super bummed out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a business. Like sometimes you get bummed out, but overall, you're not going to have that unless you're making a significant impact in somebody's life. So speak to like that in the locker room. I mean, you had tears in your eyes talking about the trade and how blessed you are about the opportunity for a new club and they were making a playoff run. But like, it hurts because you're leaving behind a relationship that you had. But the good thing about it is it does hurt because you do have a relationship because you are making an impact.
Yeah. I think that was after 2018, and that was 2019 I rehabbed with the Cubs. 2020 I went and signed with Seattle. Had a benign bone tumor in my cervical spine. Nobody could take it out. I had to pray and lean on the Lord's provision through that. Thankfully healed from that. 2021, going from a starting pitcher to the relieving side of things and go to the bullpen. And then, obviously in the middle of that season, got traded to Houston. And I knew that I was going to compete for a World Series. But without the 2018, what I mentioned earlier, and just starting a relationship with our Heavenly Father and our God and our Savior and all of those, I would not have been able to make an impact the way that was felt in Seattle. And I just, like I said, I hope that people saw that it was Christ living through me, and that's what brought us all together in Seattle. We had a lot of good times there. and a lot of great teammates. We competed really hard, and Houston was in our division, and they were leading our division, and we were in second at the time, and we thought that, it was going to be something that we were going to break like a 20-year span of Seattle not getting to the playoffs, and then obviously I went to Houston and was able to compete that postseason and with Houston. But it was a whirlwind of a time, moving. We had one daughter at the time, and picking up from Seattle and moving to Houston and not knowing anybody. And shout out Tori, like rock star, could pack at the drop of a hat. We've moved 36 times in 10 years of marriage. So
36 times.
36 coaches. From moving back from off seasons to moving to spring training houses to moving to, in season houses and apartments, and she's doing it with 2 kids and 3 kids and 1 kid and no kid. Like during different seasons of life, she was able to just do it, and she put her head down and went to work just like I was going to work. So I don't realize it till the back end of my career. I have every day that goes by, I have more thankfulness in my heart for what she did to help that
because
journey.
you're around your kids all the time now.
not only that, but like. She keeping them, like we was in Chicago, downtown Chicago, and I was with the White Sox, and she pushing them in strollers and taking them out places and keeping them occupied. And like we didn't have no help with no family there. It was just her and the kids. And so that was kind of hitting on some of that. But when I got to Houston, like the impact, that's what I prayed for. Like, Lord, help me make an impact. And when I showed up talking about purpose, before 2018, my purpose was to get out to make money. After 2018, my purpose was to show up and make an impact on teammates. No matter how well I pitched or how poorly I pitched, I still needed to show up with that purpose in mind. I went purpose, people, and then profit came later. Before 2018, I went profit, maybe a person here and there, and I really didn't have a purpose. So I started to flip that narrative and figuring out, okay, well, it was so much freedom because if I did good or bad, I don't care what people said on Instagram or Twitter, I still needed to make an impact on my teammates. And they needed to see how I was going to react, good times and bad times. And I think through the Holy Spirit guiding me through those thought processes, I think people saw that in Seattle, but it was not mine. It was what I was learning along the way.
Purpose, people, and profit. I think clearly defining a purpose is huge for your life. I was talking to Paul Daniel the other day, and I was talking about his son training over here with us and thinking about what can get him over the hump. And one of the things I said is, like, a dog needs something to chase. And chasing profit can get you some profit, and at the end of the day, you got money in your pocket, and it's like, what have I done with this time, with this money, in order to impact other people's lives? And then, like, if you're looking at profit or purpose being the number one thing, it reshifts everything, and you have a vision now to go chase and go imitate,
right? Because
you've created clarity in your life of what to go after.
Yeah, you hear a lot of times, what's your why? That can be potentially a worldly why. When I think about purpose, I think, what is God created all of us on purpose and for a purpose? Like, what is your God-given purpose? Not just what is your why. Why were you created? And that's something that between you and God, each one of us is uniquely designed and intricately put together. Every cell in our body, everything, Coach, is put together for a purpose. And that's when I started figuring out, is this what I'm called to do? Am I called to be a baseball player? Okay, if I'm called to do this, then I need to act like it, and not just saying, hey, I'm here just because. I had one of my best friends in the world sit down with me in Arizona and look at me in my eyes and say, you called to do this? I said, of course. But I didn't know what he was asking me. And it rested. I started thinking about it. Am I really called to do this? Well, now I'm called to do something else, and all of it is revolved around purpose. So, that was a fun season. And then in Houston, I know you got a picture pulled up. You were able to come watch in Fenway and October baseball and the whole deal. I think you and Trey came up and y'all got to watch me, and then got to watch Garrett Whitlock pitch. And then after the game, Coach, y'all came to the room and smashed my leftovers from the clubhouse food, Coach. I was so hungry.
we pulled his sushi out of the trash can. Me and Trey were looking at each other like, man, I'm starving right now. It was in the to-go box. Now,
it was in a to-go box in a brand new trash can that was at the, at a very nice hotel. So it was just a plastic liner.
Crazy,
it wasn't
like,
nothing in it.
I'm like, You threw it? No, me and Trey
I didn't know they was that hungry.
starving. It was two, and this is like the lifetime of like a Major League Baseball player too. You're getting
Right.
back to the hotel at like 1 o'clock.
Yeah, 1 o'clock.
We're rolling up at 2 a.m. Here's a picture right now of us. Like, I think this is pregame during warm-ups. Like this, you talking about, look at my smile. I was cheesing so hard. This was such a cool time. Like Trey Mullinax, who brought Kendall over, and there's Kendall. And then Whitlock, he was one of our first big league guys. He trained with us at the River Chase spot. So literally.
And talk about, man, a 180 of what his body was able to do before he came here, and then just his eval coach. And
We were
y'all,
talking
you
about
have
that
him on the podcast one day and talk about that, but it was pathetic. And now he's one of the best relievers. He's one of the best relievers in the game, you know.
But I mean, I just got to brag on this moment, not bragging about Tinsley Performance, but just like how fun this trip was. I mean,
And
we're
to
up
do
there-
it with Mullinax, a redneck from Alabama, to go to Boston,
he
so
was
happy.
fired
I know.
up about this. And then I think this video might be the one with you coming out of the bullpen, coming in. So I think Whitlock, you can see that tall joker just walking off the mound right there. And then, oh, yeah, that's right. So Kendall's coming in right now. Let's go! From Trey. The fans thought we were schizophrenic. We had our TP shirts on. We were like yelling for the Red Sox, sitting in the stands in the family section
That's right.
for Astros, and we're like cheering for both teams in the championship series, right? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it was an ALCS. Yep.
oh, we knew.
He was getting in.
Oh yeah, we watched him in the bullpen.
Like previous to going to the
Oh
game.
no,
you
we're
just-
just
you take a
like
chance. You take a
fingers
chance.
crossed because we didn't know if Whitlock was throwing either. They're
But
both
pretty much in the
relievers.
postseason, every reliever that was counted on during the season is going to pitch in every postseason
And
game.
they were
no
both
matter
kind
the
of
score.
one inning guys, setup guys, and all that. So it's like going into it. I'm like, it's possible we see both of these cats tonight.
Yeah, we threw back to back.
They threw back. He's literally walking off the field. Kendall's running in on the field. They're throwing back to back in the game, and
We
we
won,
are
Coach.
losing our minds.
Astros win.
Astros win.
Astros win.
Oh my goodness! And then that led to is this
So
the
going back,
game
even that right
Hold
there,
on.
Coach, pull that up, pull that back up.
That right there.
No, that was in Houston. Pull that back up. It was this moment right here. Let's see, that was in 2021. So that moment right there in 2014 was the same moment when I debuted. I ran out of that same bullpen on that same field. So to me, that moment when I see it is a picture of the whole journey, because I was a little kid not knowing what I was doing going into a ball game. I came in the 8th inning, they singing Sweet Caroline, and I'm pretty sure that might have been coming in about that time then too.
This is a little bit of your action right there.
So, yeah, I mean, I had a good outing, and then was able to experience it with you guys, and I'm thankful that
So
y'all were there to support. It's hard to get away from family and businesses and friends, and Trey was playing PGA Tour golf, and y'all made it a priority to come see us. And Boston's a fun time of year.
This was a video right here. That the day before when y'all got beat, they had like 2 or 3 consecutive games with like grand slams or something.
Yeah.
I mean, the place was rocking. They weren't really rocking at the end of that other game when you came in, but it was, man, so cool.
But yeah, that, and then we ended up winning the series. There was a lot of fun moments back in Houston, and got beat by the World Series champs that year were the Atlanta Braves. So they beat us in the postseason in 2021, and never won a World Series, but was able to be there and what every kid dreams of, just being able to compete there, and obviously wanted to win, but wasn't able to. Competed in the College World Series, competed in Big League World Series, and then represented Team USA in a World Baseball Classic and played in the finals there. So a lot of fun moments in my baseball career, revolving around just being on the field that I grew up loving the game and the passion for the game. The same game that I played when I was 8 years old, I got to play when I was 35 years old. And that's like pretty cool to think about. I never did it for amount of money. I love the game of baseball. I still love the game of baseball. In the big leagues, there's a business side, and there's the pure game of baseball. I'm thankful the business side didn't take away from my love of the game and my passion. And still to this day, I'm forever indebted to the game of baseball too, and what picking up a baseball and throwing it to somebody else did for my life. I can't believe that we got paid to play that game. Like, I just like playing, so.
That's wild. Just to like, I guess to wrap everything up, I mean, I have a few other things here that I kind of wanted to chat about, but just like Toronto Blue Jays in 2014, A's from 15 to 18, Mariners 20 to 21, Astros 21, White Sox 22 to 23, Astros in 23, Diamondbacks in 25. Just like unbelievable career. I mean, there's ups and downs and all that. I mean, you went through Tommy John, you went through some back problems, you went through non-cancerous. You just skimmed over that, but
Right.
like bone tumor in your neck, many obstacles.
Shoulder surgery, like going from dating, engaged, married, kids, like just all of that, navigating identity for yourself, identity for your wife. Like there's so much that goes into it. And I know we can't talk about all of it in a podcast. I mean, we'd be here all day, but like just your legacy that you've already left to the athletes here. I mean, they're seeing what it looks like to, hey, Kendall Graveman's the veteran that's over here, and now kind of Whitlock's rolling into that role, Right.
and how you challenge guys because you're not going to take like mediocre work ethic, but also bringing them in and kind of showing them the ropes of like, hey, look, this is what it's going to look like in the locker room.
Yeah.
This is how you stand up for your faith. Like, I guess maybe talk about that for just a little bit, because my thought is like you've told me multiple times about like plane rides where, I mean, there's all kind of stuff that you're exposed to in the big leagues. Like you can pretty much get anything, whether that's drugs, alcohol, sex, like all of it. And so how do you have those conversations with people, like the standard that you set early on? How does faith in the locker room roll into like everything that you were able to do and the impact that you're able to make and the relationships that you now have with guys all over the world, really, who you've played with or coach or played while, I mean, talking about coaches or players or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the impact is just trying to lean in on being the best Christ follower I can and not like taking a Bible and thumping it over somebody's head. You know, it's like, I'm going to be me. This is what I believe. I believe it's had freedom in my life and my soul. And my spirit has been free because of it. And I believe I live it's not void of fun. I think it's been the most fun I've ever had in my life, you know. And the world told me early on that the other stuff was fun. And it wasn't. It led to a road that was detrimental for me. And I started to figure that out. And then I've seen how much freedom and fun I've had on the back end, you know. And that's where I have gained a lot of those experiences from. What does it look like to be recruited in college? What does it look like to play on a college team? You know, it's a little different now with some of the things we have going on in college. But what does it look like to play professional baseball? What does it look like to play minor league baseball and live in the same house as 7 other guys? You know, what does it look like to train hard in the off season? What is it? You know, all those things I have thankfully been life experiences and I've got. And I want to be in this position now to help other people navigate that, you know, and whether it be somebody listening to this podcast that's about to need an agent. Like, how do you pick an agent? How do you figure out who that right person is? Or a financial advisor? How do we talk about money? I know we want to be great stewards of stuff. So how do we, as men, be very vulnerable with each other and say, this is how we can help. Let's put a plan together. And you're going to be in professional baseball, potentially making some money. Let's talk about it. How do we show up as professionals? I know I love Tyler Tolbert, and Tyler, shout out Tyler. Like, he just tied an MLB record that's been, I don't know how many years, it's been forever. He got, 12 straight plate appearances with 12 hits. Like, it's an amazing accomplishment.
1921, I think. Something
Yeah,
like that.
so it's like something that seeing a guy like that who's put his head down and worked and grinded. But we've also had conversations of, dude, you're a great teammate. Keep doing it. The organization loves you. Keep being a pro. Keep doing the things you do well. But then also talking about, what can I do better to stick around in the big leagues? Because ultimately that's what he wanted to do, and that's what he's going to do. You know, is it have less swing and miss? Is it to just put the ball in place because he has the ability to run like nobody else? And we've seen that, and you've developed some of that. So I love that aspect of it just as much as anything. And then also, you guys have done a good job as my time has come to a close in working out, but also we've developed a group of guys that want to do a Bible study and want to learn about who Christ is and what is this all about. We're not trying to live a religion, but we got a group of guys in the off season that come here led by Noah Cardenas, and it's like he's been an amazing asset to this building in my eyes. And just for him to sit down and lead it has been amazing, and see them guys grow and lean on each other and be vulnerable. So that's the part that I would love to see, and love my potential investment into this in the future, is to help other guys.
Come on, man. Yeah, and I kind of forget about sometimes with the business side of things, like the pro small group that we have each off season, which is so valuable for my life, but also just I hadn't been in the locker room necessarily suiting up to play at the pro ball level, but I was a strength coach for a couple of years, so I have an idea of what just how tough it can be.
Right.
I mean, I know everybody's like, "Oh, it's so glam, you're playing pro ball. Like, how can it be? You're playing a game for a living." Well, there's just a lot that goes into it, and then you can lose sight of your ultimate goal there is to make an impact. And if Jesus is number one in your life, like, how do you do that? And it's just like challenging guys to like go to the field late at night when the lights are off and go to each position and pray over the guys that play that position on your team, and just name by name, whether it's their girlfriends or their wives or whoever, their children, like, and like that, you've just done an incredible job of stewarding that part of it well, especially later on in your career, and then doing the same thing over the athletes that have been here and coming through our doors at Tinsley Performance. It's just like we'll forever be indebted to you for that and for that leadership, and also just like pushing me into it too. Like, hey, dude, don't forget, you're not just getting guys stronger and faster.
Right.
Like, just make sure you lock it in, and challenging each other with random different kind of, whether it's scripture or praying over folks or praying over our family or date nights, like all those different things. But I guess to wrap it up, like, I would love for you to just say, well, three things. One, like, if you're talking to the Kendall Graveman that's 12 or 14 years old, like, what do you tell a young athlete coming up? We'll have a ton of athletes in this podcast, whether it's baseball or whatever. I mean, whatever their ultimate goal is, maybe they don't have the aspirations of playing in the big leagues, and maybe you didn't either until it just happened. But, like, what do you tell them? And then also, what do you tell their parents during that time of, like, I mean, just all the things you can get into with travel ball and all this stuff?
I would say it still revolves around not performance. I would say to the parents first, don't let it revolve around performance, meaning don't let your emotions be happy and only happy when the kid goes 4 for 4. I think what we try to do in my family is we're going to have guidelines in place and expectations, clear, concise. You know what the expectation is. The expectation is a hustle on and off the field. The expectation is no hanging our head, no pouting. The expectation is to cheer on our teammates. The expectation is to show up and give us full focus and listen to the coaches and be coachable. Like, there is clear expectations in my house when our kids go to play sports. That's what that's the scale I'm looking at when we get done. Obviously, we want to work hard to have success, and we want those to pay off at some point. But I would say from the 12 to 14-year-old kid or the 10-year-old kid, and also the parents, if the parents aren't giving you expectations, then put expectations on yourself, because every college coach is looking at talent, yes, but they're also still looking at what kind of person is he? And I know a lot of these people that are recruiting colleges right now, and your college is your new pro ball. You can make a lot of money doing it, but they still want good people. And good people means, is it hard running on and off the field every time? After you've made an out and you're frustrated with yourself, you have to make a conscious decision to get on the field and get off the field. And so, like, those still core values is something I would say judge your kids off of. And then work with your kid at home if you want them to get better. You can't just expect them to go to a practice and send them off to some team and they just automatically get better. I would say continue to invest time and energy into trying to help parents. You may not know anything about the game of baseball. You can put a ball on the tee and help with YouTube and figure out a swing. Like, you have no excuses. And, that would be, and we touched on it earlier about getting in the weight room and letting our body move and try to specialize in a few different sports. Don't just get sport specific too early on. I think maybe as you get older in high school, the last year or so, I still don't agree with it, but I can see it if you want to get a little sport specific. But try them all. And then honestly, just love your kids through it all. Because that old stat, that majority of the kids won't play past college, and it's true. I saw it. I saw it happen. And if the dream happens, it happens. But keep it alive as long as you can. Keep playing the game. Keep loving the game. Keep playing it the right way.
Come on, man.
Love it.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to do this podcast, and maybe
Absolutely.
we'll do more in the future. Maybe we'll have a group of you guys and chatting about different chapters of your life and all of it. But as you saw here, Kendall's one of the best to ever walk the face of the earth and one of the best athletes we've ever had walking through Tinsley Performance. And it's been an honor and pleasure to be from the beginning. I mean, we were able to go to your retirement party when you finished up, and just how special it is to be able to have an athlete that we trained literally from the beginning of your pro ball journey all the way through, all the different chapters. I mean, there's a ton of different chapters, but how you carry yourself now, the impact that you're now making, not sitting on your hands and just kind of you got a lot of money right now, you can do whatever you want, but still going after success, not staying stagnant and moving forward towards what you feel like God's placed in your heart of just making an impact. And so one of the things that you said the other day about I'm just not going to get involved with an organization or something if Jesus isn't first. I mean, I just don't have the time and effort to put in something that God's not involved in. And so I think that's a huge thing that you didn't even say that to me. I was just listening to a conversation. I think that's so powerful. And you're in a position right now where you can make those decisions on who you're going to invest in. And you've done that through baseball. You've done that through your family, watching how you develop your kids and what standards you've set and how you're not going to allow them to, again, hold their head down. I mean, you're bringing your daughters over here to train now, and there's been times where you brought them to the side hey, that's okay. We're here to train. We're here to get better. You don't have to pout. And just holding your head up and doing that all the way up to the biggest level or the highest level in the big leagues. And, I mean, everybody that is aspiring to get there obviously looks up to you, and even guys that are there right now look up to you because you did it. I mean, what a blessing to have that on your resume, but ultimately holding Jesus front and center. And I'm just thankful for you, and I appreciate your time, and love you, dude.
Yeah, love you, man. And there's going to be many more athletes come through here that are probably better than me. So I guess the question is, who's next? And that's what I want to leave everybody with is there's somebody out there thinking that could be me. Go chase it.
One way to find out.
Ain't one way to find out, Coach. Love you, man. Appreciate you.
Love you too. Come on.